Hello everyone, I'm Majorjip, and today I'm going to be starting off a new series for my channel, which is going to be called Majorjip's Retro Radio Museum. Or at least that's the name for now, unless I come up with something more catchy. Anyway, how this is going to play out, I've essentially gathered a humongous collection of old and interesting and, all different types and years of all different brands of radios. Table radios, clock radios, telephone radios, console radios. Actually, I only have one full console stereo at this point. All-in-one units, separate systems, like the Fisher Studio Standard, which is component types where you have all different components attached into a amplifier. Anyway, yeah, so long story short, have a very large collection of radios. And I thought it would be a good idea to start documenting some of these radios that I have. And this is what I came up in my head with. It's basically just going to be taking a look around the radio, telling you whatever information I could find on them, and maybe how old they are if I can find information, so on and so forth. So let's first jump into this with this old Panasonic RE-7371 radio, which was produced around 1970 from what I can find online. There's no documentation online about the age of this, and looking on the circuit board, there's really no date codes to follow, and I'm not entirely certain how you decode the serial number, if you could decode that for the date, which if anyone knows and could let me know, that would be excellent. So I'm starting off with this radio because I believe this is one of the first radios I actually picked up, probably when I was like 10 or 11 at a flea market for, I think, around $5. All useless information to you, probably. But, as you can see, we'll go over the basics. It's a mono radio. It's an older style table radio. And one of the nice things about this radio is not only the fact that it still works, but the fact that it has a nice orange glowing lighted dial. Now this does have removable lights in the front panel for when they do go out. You can tell there's only two that's brighter in that section and that section in the middle. And one of the other things I'm going to go over in these videos is, taking them apart and looking inside to give an idea of what's inside. So let's start out just by taking a quick look around in more detail. You can see this right here is the tuning, and that's the volume, tone control from 10 up to 10 down. That's, treble up top, bass. You can get around there. Usually centered is about good because this is a pretty old paper dome speaker. It has FM automatic frequency control, which is nice, and AM band, which is a pretty good receiving AM band. On the other side, you have the single speaker grill and the little Panasonic logo, and the little Panasonic logo over that. I really like the look of this cabinet. It's all wood, and it has these little metal accents, which I believe are aluminum. See side. Like that. This one's in pretty good shape, this cabinet. I have some that are a little bit worse off. There's the information panel, and you can see serial number 15028. And I look up that model number. That's the model number of the radio. And it doesn't really have many information marks regarding the agent. It has an UL Raised Laboratory label. It doesn't have a number. UL listed number, though, from what I can see. would also be a little bit helpful in tracing down the date of manufacture. Alright, I guess it's time to turn it on and tune in a station. Alright, so it's already pretty much tuned into one. It's a little bit iffy. It's only using an internal antenna right now. And this area isn't exactly, my house isn't exactly the best, because there's all sorts of electronic interference going on. But I guess let's switch it to automatic frequency control and just do a sweep from the top.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, don't worry about it. That's okay.
Yeah, so that's 95.9.
To streets you used to walk along with me, and every step I take reminds me. What do you get back home to? The disaster that was there when you left.
Alright, so that was all the AM stations. Let's go down to FM, as you can notice.
Start flowing international business of your own. There may be ways to preserve your wealth, but history has shown that few things.
777-1922.
Now, John Bachelor Show.
An active duty trip.
Family safety.
Get up to $1,300 in security equipment.
Yeah, see, it usually picks up a little bit more AM, but, you know, it's nighttime. That usually isn't the best for AM reception. Alright, so now let me play a little bit of music on this radio and give you a good example of how it sounds, or as well as my camera can pick it up. Now, since I can't play anything off of the radio for fear that Content ID is going to get it and I'm going to get a copyright strike, I've decided to actually use an FM transmitter, one that has a hardwired cord, and actually wire it directly into the FM antenna input. Now, that does give me a very good signal into the radio. The only bad part about that is it's not a particularly good FM transmitter. So, you know, you'll hear it's a little bit artifacty and not that great, but it does work. as you've probably been able to notice, it actually has a very nice sound to it. It's, you know, you can't push the little speaker too far, because then it'll start sounding a bit off. But, you know, a reasonable volume, you know, the tone somewhere around the middle, so a very nice sound to it. Alright, let's go to the next part. Alright, taking the back cover off this radio is pretty simple. You have 4 screws. And all you have to do is take them off and this whole cover will come out. Alright, now all that's left to do is to pull the back cover off. And that will reveal everything inside. And of course, if you turn the power switch on, you can see the 2 little lamps in there that light everything up. You see a few electrolytic capacitors that could probably do for a changing. All in all, it's a very simplistic setup for an AM/FM radio, as you would expect. Power transformer, that's going to be the tuning area right over there, and a bunch of just power and amplification circuitry. And you can see the little speaker. It's actually a 32 ohm, 1.6 watts, made in Japan. And as you can see, the built-in FM antenna goes into there, goes right around there, and just kind of attaches into wraps around the cord. So in a way, it just uses the cord as an antenna. Alright, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a message or a comment. Anyway, this is Majorjip, signing out.